Hi, Aaron Fulk. How are you doing?
Hi, Scott Havens. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah. See, now I get why you don't want me saying your full name. I just say it because you got a big brand, so like people know it. So I say Aaron Fulk.
I was going to do the math on this for you. We've done this show almost 6 years. So I know we haven't done it every single week, but we've done it a lot of weeks. But you said in the
Yeah.
pre-show we've done 800 or 900 shows.
Is it more?
From my calculations, 52 shows a week at six years is 312.
Oh, you know what? I'm in sales, and you own a
I think
business,
it's
so
eight or
you
nine
need your.
hundred guests we've had on. I do know we've had a lot of guests.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, very cool. The good thing is Bestway International is kind of a sales organization, so they understand what I do. But you're like Evardy construction. You got to do it. You got to build it right. You know what I mean? You got to get it done the right way.
Got to build the foundation right, even in a good sales career, Scott. Got to build that foundation right.
Well, you know what? Good thing I chose the path of making lots of mistakes to learn the right foundation. So
No, I would
I was a
tell you
big,
because we do say 800 or 900 guests. I do think that's right. It's just I just didn't want people to get confused. We would have to do daily shows.
yeah, no, it's pretty mind blowing when I run into people that have been on the show. I'm like, Google yourself. They're like, why does this pop up as like the third or fourth thing? I was like, Erin Folk does. That's what she does for a living. I'm like,
Aaron
oh
Fulk.
yeah, I forgot she runs marketing agency.
Well, you know what's actually really cool? It's because of YouTube, because we've been putting this on YouTube. And so the trick on YouTube, just if anybody's watching, is after 100 videos on YouTube. That's when YouTube starts to give you lots of love, right? And 100 videos sounds like a lot, but it's really not, because they're counting shorts and everything now too. But since this has hundreds of videos, 312 probably, I'm going to have to go look. That's why Google owns YouTube. Did you know that, Scott?
I did. I did.
Yeah.
Not to change subjects, but you're an expert in this arena before you have the guests come out. Because we're online so much, can some AI person like create a fake of us and like do fraud against our family, like pretend it's our voice on the phone?
What where are you going? You are so random. I think that any bad person could do anything bad they wanted with AI, because the laws are not strong enough yet of what can happen with AI.
I just figured
You
people
know
can
what
make
the
fake
biggest business in Jamaica is?
fraud.
Do you know what not the biggest business, the biggest like crime business in Jamaica is?
I would assume it's fraud against Americans.
Yes, so they have full skyscrapers full of call centers to call, and they pay top dollar for what other countries pay for things you're not supposed to do. They pay top dollar for call lists in Jamaica. It's like run like the mob to call and trick Americans.
See, I would, where I was going with the plane, trying to be interesting like you before we bring on the guests.
Yeah, you went real left there. So, okay, let's bring on our guest. Nobody cares about us. First of all, it's Veterans Day, and one of our guests is a veteran, which is super exciting. The other guest is blowing up in Kansas City. I went to his ribbon cutting the other day with my daughter, and it's
Ooh.
really fun to watch. So let's not even care about us, because we're not fun. Let's do this. And I'm a little concerned about what's going to come out of your mouth next. So we're just going to switch gears. All right. So, first of all, I'm going to bring out our first guest, and I want everybody in the comments to let us know if you're watching Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube live. Just like our buddy right here, Paul, just said, watching with my dad, who is a veteran, which is going to lead me into, I want everybody to drop Happy Veterans Day to our first guest, Mike Kenny. And then, Isaac Collins. Hi, guys. Mike Kenny, let's start this off. Thank you so much for your service. Oh, it's so bad. So bad.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. My pleasure.
The music is bad. Your service was awesome. We really appreciate that. How long were you in the service?
So 22 years, and then 4 years at the military academy. So I guess 26. Wow. So
26 years, and you're only 29. That's crazy.
You look very young.
I'm pretty young. Yeah, I wish.
Well, we're going to let you start today. Who are you? What do you do? And how do you get to Kansas City?
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. First and foremost, thanks for the opportunity. Yeah, so I'm Mike Kenny, Executive Director for Warriors Ascent, and we're a 501c3 nonprofit organization that helps veterans and first responders with post-traumatic stress. So 22-year Army veteran, West Point grad, was commissioned as an infantry lieutenant with 101st Airborne Division Air Assault, spent a good amount of time there, then went to the Special Forces, and I spent the preponderance of my career in 1st Special Forces Group, Special Operations Command Pacific. And my last duty station, which brought me to Kansas City, was at the Commander General Staff College. So what brought me here to wonderful Kansas City, home of the Chiefs. My kids hate when I say that, but I love it. No, what brought me here was my wife. I met my wife when I was a student at the Commander General Staff College. We did the long distance dating thing when I was at Fort Lewis, Washington. Hey, we got married. My last duty station, I managed to get back here to Kansas City, so she could be back with her family. And it's been great. I love Kansas City. I had a colonel boss of mine at the time when I was ready to retire in 2015. He said, so, hey, where's it that you're settling down? I said, I'm going to go to Kansas. I think I'm going to shut it down there. And he was like, what? Kansas, what the heck? I'm like, no, sir. Kansas is great. Great quality of life, standard of living, great place to raise a family, great sports teams, power and light district. It's much, much more than a flyover, city. So I've enjoyed it immensely. Love the people. Just a great community to be a part of. Very philanthropic, so the next chapter of my career, as a nonprofit leader, that's been exceedingly helpful. So, that's how it is that I came to be here at Kansas City. And I enjoy it thoroughly. It's great. I love this city.
Did you say where you grew up?
New Jersey.
I felt like
Can you? Yeah, I think I've lost most of my accent. Now I'm kind of.
Can you tell us a little bit more about?
Okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Can you tell us a little bit more about Warriors Ascent?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I've been doing that for 10 years. So we just graduated our 72nd cohort, 700 plus people that we've helped. Right. We'd like to say that we empower our participants to take ownership of their lives and healing with the 5-day holistic program that provides them the tools to heal and tend the mind, body, and soul. In the end, I'll say in my capacity as a former Special Forces officer, a large portion of our portfolio was building partner capacity with our host nation counterparts. And I'll say I've brought that ethos to Warriors Ascent, in that we're building people's capacity to heal so that they're not dependent upon us in perpetuity, but they can, fight their own battles. And that's I'll say that is the model that we use at Warriors Ascent.
I love that. And I love that you know your numbers very well. Did you catch that, Scott?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Mike's organization does amazing work, says Dave. So sounds amazing. Again, thank you for your service. All right, Isaac, follow that. Who are you? What do you do? How do you get to Kansas City?
And all right. Well, thanks for having me. Haven't been on in a little bit. And thank you for your service. My grandpa was in the military for years and years, and he's in the Army. And he passed in 2020 at the age of 100. So appreciate you for what you do. But Isaac Lee Collins, CEO, founder, Fifth and Emery, frozen yogurt and chocolate. I am getting used to saying CEO and founder because before it was just owner operator. For those who don't know out there, so Fifth and Emery is a newer organization. We recently rebranded Yogurtini. I owned Yogurtini frozen yogurt for 10 years with my wife, and I was a franchisee. Did it, and it was a fun experience. We owned 3 locations in the Kansas City Metro. Plaza, Shoal Creek, which is Liberty area, and Overland Park. And this past year, we had the opportunity to rebrand. We negotiated a situation where we could leave the brand, take our 3 stores with us, which is a whole story there, and rebrand them to Fifth and Emery. So we're excited that we're able to do that. It's been a lot of fun. Being an independent brand, I would say there's a lot that I've learned in that process. Definitely harder than I thought it was going to be, but learned a lot, and it's been a lot of fun. So we named it Fifth and Emery after our children. So Fifth is for Isaac the Fifth, our son, and then Emery is our daughter Sage's middle name. So one of the biggest things for us is we wanted to fully do business our way, and it's allowed us to do that. And so here we are. and we have 5 locations across the metro now. How did I get into it? Really, when I was getting out of college, I went to Missouri Western State University. There in St. Joe, Missouri. There was an entrepreneurial program that was helping graduating seniors kind of get into business right out of college. And I went through that program, and I competed to be able to have the opportunity to have my own business. And when I did that, my year I won, which allowed me to purchase a Rocky Mountain Chocolate Factory franchise store through the program. So that's kind of how I got started. So if you've been in our new brand, Fifth and Emery, we actually rolled chocolates and caramel apples back into what we do, because I have, gosh, almost 5 years of chocolate and caramel apple making experience. So that's been a lot of fun. And where am I from? I am a KC-Mo boy, born at Truman Medical Center, lived over Independence and Paseo until we moved to St. Joe when I was pretty young. So that's my story.
You told it before. You did so good.
Yeah.
Didn't leave any time to ask about your other. We didn't get any time to ask about your. We didn't get a chance to ask about your other businesses, but hopefully you can answer that in the next segment, because you got a lot of other things cooking. Mike, what is the most pivotal point in your career?
Well, geez, I'll say, 2 inflection points. One, was commitment to the military academy, and then a career in the military. And I'll say with one decision, it preordained 26 years of my life, and I know, when you look at, I'll say the normal career path or progression, there's so many pivots, there's so many, this and that, people change industries, they change all sorts of, you look at LinkedIn and you look at people's profiles. And yeah, you do a lot of different jobs in the military, but by and large, hey, I was in the military for 26 years, which I'm not gonna say is uncommon, but it's a commitment to, one profession to for quite some time. So I'd say that was one. The other one was upon my retirement in 2015, I had the opportunity to take a job at Fort Leavenworth as a GS employee, general schedule, so government employee. And I had that lined up. And then where's Ascent, that opportunity, I'll say, fell in my lap. My boss at the time, who was approached by a former boss of his, a retired brigadier, West Pointer, said, hey, we want you to take the helm of a fledgling nonprofit, and see what you can do with it. I was like, all right. So at that point, the decision was either, hey, go with something I know, right? That government job, which really, quite frankly, I'd been doing while I was assigned to the Command General Staff College, or as Abraham Maslow would say, right? You can either step forward into growth or step back, into comfort and safety. So I chose to step forward into growth, flex some entrepreneurial muscles, and take the leap. So, for all intents and purposes, a nonprofit startup, and 10 years later, here we are. And I've got, some victories and glory and some scar tissue to prove it. So, that's about it. Yeah.
Can I ask a really dumb question?
Sure.
When our government shuts down, does that mean our military people don't get paid?
Yeah, I mean, it means they don't get paid, but they're still going to show up.
Yeah, that's incredible.
I'm sure they'll get back pay, and it's been resolved, luckily. But yeah, I mean, by rights, as I understand it, yeah, that means no one's getting paid. But I don't know any military person that's not going to show up and do their job, because you've taken an oath, to defend the country, right? Yeah. So you're going to do it no matter what.
I just never thought about that question until right now, so I wanted to make sure I was right. Okay, so when you got into nonprofit, I know there's the conversation. We've had someone on this show before, that sometimes it can be a really big change going from, a very process-driven, regimented work environment to small business, nonprofit, right? Where everything's kind of more day to day. What was that transition like for you?
So, just very briefly, there are a lot of functions in the military that translate over nicely, clearly. Run a nonprofit, same business functions, except minus the profit motive per se. No, but it's just, hey, managing people, it's all the same. I'll say maybe the incentive structure is a little different. What it takes to motivate people. I'll say this, just trying to be concise and brief. Okay. There are things that we take for granted in the military, why people are there, what motivates them, their reason for it's the mission to fight and win the nation's wars. when you've got employees that are working for you, it's a little bit different, you know, different thing. People do things for different reasons, for different motivations, and the key is to tap into that. And that's not always super intuitive. So, yeah.
Right. That's interesting. All right. Scott, your turn.
Isaac, what is the most pivotal point in your career?
Interesting. I would say, I imagine this is probably in the realm of what others would say if you ask them that are in business, but the thing that comes to top of my mind is probably COVID for me. Scott, you kind of alluded to it, that I kind of have my hands in other things. Well, going into the pandemic, we were doing a little bit of all the things. At that time, we had 2 yogurtini locations. We were doing some real estate investing, construction type stuff. Startup company called Serve Nutrition that we started probably a year and a half before, and then a nonprofit teaching trauma-informed yoga to kids in inner city schools. It's called Superhero Yoga. And so I always say that I kind of fell for the lie that the average millionaire has 7 income streams. So I was kind of in a rush to get 7 income streams, and learning now that typically millionaires make their first million with 1, maybe 2, and then they start to diversify. But through that process, I kind of learned a lot, and I was having fun, but I wouldn't say I was really having the impact that I truly wanted in the community. And then when the pandemic hit, it allowed me to slow down, like all of us, to really figure out what I wanted to do and the impact that we wanted to have. And I would say that really changed a lot of things. It made me want to get out of a lot of the things that I was doing. I feel like I was doing it really more to be seen versus actually having impact that I wanted to have. So it allowed me to slow down, decided that I'm actually really good at the food retail piece. So it made us want to invest in food more. So more, at that time, yogurtini locations. And then it made me want to also help other business owners a lot more with their businesses. So we started a business coaching and consulting practice, which I still do today. And then we shut down a lot of the other stuff that we were just kind of treading water on, or really didn't have my heart as much anymore.
So as you look into 2000, don't want to get into the next question here. Because it could go into that. What business did you learn the most from that you stopped doing?
Oh gosh. So Serve Nutrition for sure. So I got into that. So what it was an innovative supplement. It was protein powder that was enrobed in 100% edible, 100% food grade material. So you threw that in your shaker there, you had, Scott. Shake it up, the outside dissolves, and you used to have protein powder. So it's convenient, it is going to minimize messes, and you can take it with you on the go. And like that part of the business was fine. The problem was there were 3 of us founders, and it's hard enough to grow one business, but all 3 founders had 3 different visions for the business. So the business was literally going in 3 different directions, and it just became an absolute nightmare. So that was one that I was kind of excited to get away from. It just was a headache. So I've learned how to navigate having partners a lot better now.
All right, Mike. How is your first of all, how was it November 11th? How has your 2025 been going? It's almost over. And how can the Kansas City community help you and help you finish strong?
No, things have gone decently well. You know, we've, again, as I said, 72nd cohort. We're proud of that. You know, lives, you know, changed and saved. I don't want to oversell what it is that we do, but we recurringly are told by our participants that, hey man, this program saved my life. You know, I take that very seriously, and I'm not going to oversell it and say, oh, you know, everybody credits the program with saving their lives, but we get that pretty recurringly. So that's an important, you know, mission for us. And we want to continue to do that in 2026 as well. I would say in terms of the Kansas City community, hey, I like to say our footprint is local, but our reach is national. So many people come from the Kansas City area, you know, Kansas, Missouri, but we get people from all over the country. All of that said, anybody that knows a veteran or first responder that is, you know, struggling with anxiety, post-traumatic stress, whatever it might be, warriorsascent.org. Send them our way. We've got great outcomes. We've got an article in the Journal of Psychotherapy Integration, based on a longitudinal study that shows statistically significant positive outcomes in PTSD, depression, and even risky drinking. So I say that really, if nothing more, to substantiate the fact that, hey, what we do is effective. So one I'll say is, hey, clients, people that need our help, need to avail themselves of what it is that we do, please, tell them to check us out, warriorsascent.org. Number two, and it's always fundraising, so donate. We've got a series of events that we usually have year to year: sporting clays, the Friends of Special Operations Golf Scramble at Fort Leavenworth, where we bring the special operations students to golf with, I'll say captains of industry, our business leaders. We've got a celebration dinner that we literally just had last Friday, which is great. So we do that typically in November. And something new, we'll do a race series, right? So the intent is we use the Joseph Campbell's Hero's Journey rubric, if you're familiar with that. So the Hero's Journey race series with Team Warriors Ascent. And we use that as kind of crowdfunding. We get people to kind of run for us, raise funds in support of their run. And we've done so with great success with another race series, Leadville, previously. So be on the lookout for that as well. So bottom line is, if people want to contribute to us and run in support of Warriors Ascent, we've got a series of races. One is kind of pick your own poison. You can do what you want. Two, we're looking at a Spartan race in Colorado. And three, the crown jewel will be the Pikes Peak Ascent in September of next year. So recruit some runners that can do some fundraising for us in pursuit of that. That's it, or if you just want to donate outright, but if you want to be part of the Warriors Ascent team, then, I think that would be the more fun, venue in which to do so. So
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
In 2025, going into 2026, do you feel like veterans are more open to talking about their mental health than ever?
I would say yes. There's less stigma. I think people are, it's more mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
I think there in some departments, we help veterans and, first responders. I think there's always going to be, a little bit of, I'll say, pushback or resistance, but more and more, I think people realize that in order to get the help that they need, they need to come to terms with it. In the same aforementioned article, Dr. Leese, who was the author of the article, who's at KU, by the way, he goes on to say that avoidance is the predominant coping mechanism among veterans, meaning, hey, the bad stuff, I don't want to feel it. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to talk about it. I'm just going to stuff it, compress it, and compartment it. And that's just been shown to not work, because eventually it boils over. So you've got to be able to process it. And the best way to do that is get some help. That's what we're here for. So
I love that. All right, Isaac, I didn't put you on the clock. I forgot. So Isaac, you're not going to get the clock either. Don't talk the whole time. We got 6 minutes left. How is your 2025 going? And how can the Kansas City community help you?
It's going good. Yeah. And I was talking to my wife the other day, and it was like, every year you have these big plans, and typically, to be honest, we internally don't reach them. Maybe those dreams are too big. Maybe we just don't, get everything we want to get done. But this year is a year where we did get the things done that we wanted to. So very excited about that. Successful rebrand, open 2 new locations, all the stuff. So check those things off. With that being said, like I said, rebrand was hard. So still trying to figure that piece out. But the 2 things, are we going on? Are you doing for 2026 when we do, or just?
Yeah, just how can the Kansas City community help you?
Yeah. So the 2 things that I first come to mind is one of our barometers that we used to hit as Yogurtini that we're trying to hit now with our new goals is a few of our initiatives. So yeah, we sell frozen yogurt, we sell chocolates, we sell caramel apples now. That's super fun. But 2017, we created this program called Books for Yo. It's a partnership with local schools and local nonprofits where it's kind of inspired by the Pizza Hut Book It program. If you guys remember, that when we were younger. But we took a sweet inspiration from that and redid it on our own. So we're incentivizing kids to read more books. Leaders become readers, readers are leaders, that kind of stuff. And so typically we're partnering with these school districts to be able to do that. And there's been a little bit of loss in translation of us going from Yogurtini to Fifth and Emery, and we've lost a few of those connections. So the more connections that we can get to local schools and organizations, the better, so we can increase those numbers again for kids that are reading and then getting incentivized by our bookmarks. And it's a free program that we offer to the community. That's the first one. And then the second one, we love that we now sell caramel apples. I just adore making it. It's a fun process with like the old school copper kettle and whatnot. So by next year, we want to land at least 2 apple orchards or pumpkin patches to be their main source of like funding them for caramel apples. So like we go to KC Wine Co. If we can land a KC Wine Co. where when you walk in and you're getting a caramel apple alongside their donuts, it's a Fifth and Emery caramel apple.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, I will say I texted Isaac the other day and I said, I want to know who did your logo because I am hard on branding and I adore your guys' new brand.
Oh,
I think
thanks.
you guys did a very, very good job. They did it internally. So I was very, he said, why? And I said, because I like it. I think you guys did a really good job and I'm very touched on that. So I think your brands are really great. So I think you guys are doing good. Well, that is awesome. And you guys do fundraisers too, right?
Yep. We hold typically around 150 per year with local organizations. And so with 2 more locations, we should definitely be above 200 next year. So we're always looking to get that number higher and higher as we go into these new markets. So we're looking for Lenexa, we're looking for Northland around Zona Rosa area, since those are our 2 new stores.
Cool. We're going to do a cheer fundraiser there. That's why I knew that. So I wanted to make sure to put that out there. All right. So connect with Mike and connect with Isaac. Make sure you follow them, support them. I'm going to say it one more time because I don't think I can say it enough. Thank you for your service, Mike.
No,
thank you to our sponsors, Bestway, International, and Evardy Construction. And thank you to Scott for being the best co-host ever. We will see you same time, same place next week. Bye, guys.